Howdy y'all, welcome to the Maverick Cup. We are set to go green here for a 60-minute race at Le Mans. We have the LMP1 cars coming through the final chicane, followed 10 seconds by the GTE cars. Once again, hope you don't mind, I'm just going to talk a little bit here as we watch the race together. Had Omer on the pole, off to a good start, leading Billy, followed by Daniel. Further back in the GTE field, we had Leif Peterson and Mohammed starting 1-2. Now don't get confused here watching the P1s. You'll see Billy Smith is running a very similar livery to me. He has yellow mirrors though, and I'll be taking up the tail end of the pack with the orange mirrors. There you can see the GTEs off in the distance coming around as they head down the straight to the first chicane. So like we talked about a couple weeks ago at COTA, for LMP1 we have the Porsche 919 and we have the Audi R18. And then here in this GTE field we have the Ferrari 488 and the Ford GT. And what an iconic matchup, the Ferrari versus Ford at Le Mans. Had an even split in P1 and GTE. We had 6 LMP1 cars take the grid and 6 GTEs, 4 Porsches and 2 Audis, and 3 Ferraris and 3 Fords. Mohammed's raced with us before in the GT3 cars. This is Leif's first time out in the league. And if these two make it back to some more races, it'll be fun watching them because they look pretty evenly matched here.
Slow down, Mohammed.
I heard Leif say he had a slowdown penalty there.
I'll wait for you, man. Going up. I mean, I don't want this to be a stupid race. That's alright. No worries.
So you heard Mohammed and you saw it there. He pulled over, that Leif back by after slowdown penalty. He's just looking for a good fun race here.
I gotta slow down.
See, it all evens out.
And now Muhammad with the slowdown. You notice at the bottom, the top speed there. You see the top 3 P1 cars, the top 2 braking 200 miles an hour. My car was not trimmed out for that speed. I had to run just a little bit more wing so I could keep the rear end under me. So I was not able to reach. I think I was topping out around 187. So the first league race we've done here, only my second race I've ever run here, ran a week and a half ago with the Autobahn League in GT3s. And I definitely wish for both races I had gotten a lot more
On the
practice
left.
in. There's a lot of tracks that I've run so many times in iRacing, I can just kind of show up, run a 50-minute practice and be fine. Having not run very many laps here, I definitely wish I had a lot more. Muhammad makes his way around Larry and will set his sights on Greg. That puts the Ferraris back in 1, 2, 3. As they make that run down to Indianapolis,
Thank you.
and Greg lets Muhammad on by. Oh, Larry close to the wall there. Larry gonna get him in the Ford chicanes? Yep. There goes Larry to P3. One of the newer tracks on iRacing, and obviously in iRacing fashion, just beautifully done. Larry with a lockup, and Greg goes around. So Larry, I think, should get a slowdown there. Greg's going to lose some positions, it looks like, on board with Scott Burke here. That's Paul up ahead. Here's your lead P1 cars, Ulmer and Billy Smith. Now, Ulmer promised me before the start of this race that it was going to be an Ulmer-Billy 1-2 finish. And so far it's shaping up that way. Yeah, it looks like Greg fell all the way back to 6th there after that spin. And that. Oh, it looks like Larry and Clint, the father-son duo, they've got matching paint schemes, it looks like. Let's see if the director picks up another shot of that. Ooh, Scott. That turn back there could be a little tricky. You got to watch your speed into the left and then how much speed you carry out of that right. Real easy to throw yourself off that turn. The exit is over the hill and a little blind. Yep, I took the conservative strategy here. A little bit more wing, not trimmed out like the other guys. Just trying to keep the car under me, especially with not much practice. I just wanted to finish the race. We reduced the practice time in the league from an hour and a half, I believe it was, down to 50 minutes. Definitely missing that extra practice time. Mohammed, about 2 seconds quicker the last lap than Leaf. Starting to catch up to the back of him here. And Daniel with a comfortable lead over Paul, but starting to lose touch there with John and Billy. I haven't turned many laps in these GTE cars. They don't have ABS. I do believe they have traction control, but you'll see a few lockups there into the heavy braking zones, especially as they start their turn in while under braking still. The outside or the inside tire starts to unload, and it'll lock up, and you'll see trails of smoke on these GTE cars as they come into these turns under braking. Chris and Clint look pretty evenly matched here. Similar lap times.
I'm coming, man.
That's Mohammed catching
I
up to
see
Leaf.
ya.
Yeah, here's a shot of it. Director picks it up. Down to half a second. Down to Indianapolis. And Arnage.
Well, I'm catching you, Bert, but this oil temp light hasn't gone off since lap 2, so I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to push it.
I didn't notice it in practice. Oh. Looks like Chris made it around Clint. Now Clint's trying to get back by him. Oh, man. Nice. Greg's catching up to the back of the both of them. But as I was saying, in practice I didn't notice it, but here in the race on lap 2 I had a water temp and a oil temp indicator on my dashboard come on. And I hadn't had that in practice, so I just wasn't sure what was going on or how long I could push the car. And I believe that oil temp light stayed on for the entire race. The water temp did eventually cool off, but the oil temp stayed high for the whole race, so I'm not sure what's up with that. Maybe it was my slower speed. Wasn't getting enough air in to cool it off. Now Billy's closed the gap here to John. And as I say that, John starts to pull back away. Oh! Oh, Chris and Clint there coming together a little bit. Oh, and we pulled a shot of Muhammad and Leaf.
What?
I believe you got another slowdown.
Sorry about that, Chris.
Oh, that was me. I got loose.
Oh! Greg missed his braking point there, I think. That was the same place when Larry locked up and he spun. As the P1s have caught the GTE field, start to make their way through. This is the easy part of the track down the straightaway. Sometimes these slowdown penalties can be kind of funky. I know I got one through the first chicane there down the straightaway, and without ever lifting, I actually cleared it before I got to the second chicane, so not sure how that happened. But sometimes when it says you need to give up 2 seconds, oh, Scott goes off a little bit there, runs wide. You don't actually have to give up 2 seconds, it seems. I don't know how it all works, but sometimes shifting a little earlier and staying in a higher gear longer helps bleed off a little bit. I know some guys like to slam on the brakes and come to a stop, but there's definitely...
I don't think 80% is enough. Any other LMP1's going to need to make 2 stops?
Sometimes just bleeding off a little bit of speed instead of coming to a stop for 2 seconds is actually the better strategy. So a little bit of art to clearing these black flags. You heard me on the radio. I was informed from those who ran practice that 75% fuel...
It's telling me I'm going to have to add 12.75 gallons of fuel.
Well, you're doing a lot better than me. It's telling me 13.8.
So they had told me 75% wasn't going to make it by just a little bit. So I upped it to 80%, and I was told that should be enough. And then we got in the race here, and my JRT app was telling me that...
Well, my Common Core math is telling me I'm just going to pit and fill up and keep going and go from there.
I like that strategy. I think that'll be mine too.
Yeah, so it was telling me I wasn't going to make it. But ultimately, I just decided to run my race, come in for the pit stop, and then if need be, I would fuel map there at the end of the race. Oh, was that Billy bouncing over the curbs there in the Ford chicane? Those are kind of like the those sausage curbs there. Those sausage curbs are kind of like the pyramids that you have at Coda. You got to be careful; they can damage the car, and they're a lot bigger than you think they are.
Where'd you go, Mommy?
I don't think I'm taking this stop into the equation here. I bet we run one less lap, so I'll probably be fine.
Good race, man. Sorry I had to pick up this phone call. I'll see you guys next race. I'm not fighting for this championship anyway. So it was a good race there.
Good night, Mohammed.
Hey, take it easy, Muhammad.
Good race, Mohammed. You too, man. What's your lap time right now? 3:57. Nice. I would have probably gotten you in lap 11, in my opinion. Good race, man. All right, next time, buddy.
Well, sometimes life has a way to interrupt you while you're trying to have a race. So Muhammad's had to retire to go take a phone call. And we've missed it on the feed here. It looks like Billy has taken the lead from Ulmer. Sometimes this replay director app, sometimes it misses the fun stuff, and other times it picks up things that you otherwise wouldn't see. Ooh, is that? I think that's Paul sneaking through the field there. Looks like Clint ran a little wide now. Chris has got him there. As they head down to the Porsche curves. Clint runs wide again. Now Greg's in position to get that spot from him, and here comes Burke trying to get around them all. Coming up on almost half an hour down, almost halfway. We were talking about fuel earlier. The LMP1s were increased to 80% for this race. The GTEs were decreased down from 75 down to 70% for this race. Actually, for rest of the season, I believe is the plan on that. As we saw, some GTs were able to go well inside on less than 10 minutes to go at COTA before they had to make a stop. So really wanted to make sure we forced the GTs to pit just a little earlier than that. Talked about passing traffic 2 weeks ago at COTA. Again, really, with these cars, the difference between these two, the GTs can pretty much, big lockup by Clint. The GTs can pretty much run their line, and these LMP1s can get around them quite easily. COTA was a bit more tighter than this track. This track, Le Mans, is a lot more flat out. 80% of the lap or something like that is flat out. So a lot easier to get around the GT traffic here. And even COTA wasn't that bad, except for maybe a few sections. As we look at the trees. Thank you, replay director. Here goes Greg down the inside. Watch out there, Clint. Greg makes the pass there. Puts him into 4th. We see Billy making his stop. Now see, he's making a stop with more than halfway to go in the race. So either he stopped early or our calculations were not correct. And maybe these LMP1s will need to make 2 stops. Oh, hold on, Greg. Oh! Big accident here on the exit of Indianapolis. That was Greg and Clint coming together. Greg's crab walking there. I think he got the worst end of the stick. It looks like he's going to stop and take a tow. I think it was crab walking pretty bad. And that is going to be a long, long tow. Almost 8.5 miles this track. Well, Omer had a really nice lead at the beginning of the race, and we're on board here with them, and you see Daniel's off to a 2.5 second lead on him now. So not sure if that's part of his strategy. Maybe he's fuel mapping. Omer's top speed, 225.5 miles an hour so far. There's your P3 in LMP1's Paul. And behind him is P1 in the GTE cars, Leaf. Leaf has a 44-second lead on Larry in P2. Got Daniel and Ulmer in the pit lane. That leaves Paul, Burke, and myself left to pit. When you see them grayed out in the standings box like that, that means they've actually come to a stop in their box. And then there's Daniel coming out of his box, and followed by Ulmer. And that's how they exit pit lane. Alright, here's Billy, who was P3. Let's see what the gap looks like. So looking at those box times, it looks like Billy took tires on his stop. 34.2 seconds, where Daniel and Ulmer were 18.9 and 19.6. Burke. Oh, that's Paul out of his box. Looks like the GTEs still haven't made their stops yet. Well, Greg's in there getting his tow. Other than that, though, it's been almost 5 minutes on that tow so far. Oh, and here's Burke in pit lane. We didn't see what happened to him. I know he said when he dropped off the jacks and took off, he said the car, the rear end, just came around on him. Clint's made his way to pit road. Looking at the P1 stops, it looks like Paul maybe took tires as well. I believe Burke, Billy running a little wide. Burke, I believe he had a 15-second penalty as well for unsafe entry when I was looking at the results sheet. Now with these hybrid power units, at COTA I felt like the auto mode did a very good job managing the power. And it did an okay job here, but there were a lot of times when I wasn't, the battery, the recharge on the battery felt like it was just constantly recharging, and that may have been just due to the Porsche and the long straights being able to recharge off the turbo unit when you're under power. It seemed like the battery was always charged, so I would lose some of the braking effort from the the power regeneration unit when under braking. So some turns you would come up to them and you would have the added benefit to recharging the battery under power or under braking, and the help slowing the car with that. And then other times you would have to use sheer braking force. And then the same with applying the power. There were some laps where it would run out perfect in auto mode. You would use up the last bit of your available boost as you came to the line. But then there were other laps where you would run out before the Porsche curves. And again, that throws off the balance of the car, like we talked about a couple weeks ago, where the front tires are powered off the electric motors and battery, and the rear tires are powered off the petrol engine. So without without the front tires pulling you when you don't have that boost, that really does, it throws off the balance of the car, and if you're not paying attention to it, it can catch you off. And in this car, in the P1s, there is a lot that you need to pay attention to, and a lot going on, even in auto mode. Just another thing that adds a little more strategy to the race. All that said, I still do enjoy driving them. Certainly not anything I'm quick in, but it is fun. It's something different. And I believe at this point Burke is retired, and that's bumped me up into P5. All right, looks like some of the GTEs are starting their stops. Larry's in. Greg's still sitting there. Clinton did his. It looks like he was in there for quite some time, though. He probably repaired some damage. He was in his box for minute 44. And Chris comes in for his stop as well. Oh, here's Ulmer around Daniel. Look at that speed difference. It was almost a 20-mile-an-hour difference. And that's where you can manually use that boost. Wow. You can manually use that boost and really gain a lot of extra speed down the straights. Here's Daniel coming back. I think he's going to do the same thing. As they're both using it to defend. Daniel up the inside. Nope. Ooh. A big piece of that curb, though. And Billy's closed that gap down to almost 4 seconds. Now all three of these top three are in the Porsche. And like we talked about, the Porsche can recharge its batteries under power. The Audi cannot. It only does it under braking. Looks like Daniel's found his way back around Ulmer. Billy down to under 2 seconds now. We have a three-way battle for the lead here shortly. Just under 20 minutes to go. Leaf makes his pit stop out of the GTE lead. looks like Billy around the outside of John. Nope. John back around Daniel, and here comes Billy around Daniel. And he can't do it. Through the Mulsanne. Where's that Mulsanne? Billy's gonna try again on. No, couldn't get around Ulmer. Here comes Ulmer on Daniel. And around as they come down to Indianapolis. Wow.
This boost chess game is a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun to watch too. I just wish we had meters so we could see where each driver was at for the replay. I know we can't have it because people could use it in the race to see where the competitors are at. But for the replays, it'd be really cool to see what boost everyone had left and when it was being used. So now it's Ulmer, Johnson, and Billy, 1, 2, 3. I think those tires Billy took have started to pay off. He ran a 328 that last lap compared to a 331 from Ulmer and Johnson. So I didn't know if tires could work in this P1 car, but I think Billy's going to try to make tires work. If he indeed took them, which I believe he did. Billy by Daniel as they pass
It's
Chris.
a lot more fun in VR when you can't see what button you're hitting.
Oh yeah, with all the buttons on my wheel, I couldn't imagine trying to race in VR.
Luckily, there haven't been too many shots of me in this race, but you'll notice down many of the straightaways, you'll see me weaving, and that's just for me looking down at my buttons on my wheel and on my dash, trying to find where I programmed what button when you're trying to switch your hybrid system mode. Or when you're trying to tell it to not recharge the boost or not use the boost. There are different buttons for all of that. So sometimes you don't want it to recharge, sometimes you don't want it to use the boost, sometimes you want to manually use the boost, so you have all these different buttons to program. Another one that I was using was that it's called the Hybrid System Recoup, or MGUK Regen Gain. And what that does is it's how much the battery recharges under braking. And I had to gradually through the race, I turned that down because my battery was always full, and I wanted it to be just a little under full when I was coming to the braking zones. Right up in the back. Hey, he had to go way wide. Billy way off in the dirt there. Daniel's going to go by. And he'll rejoin P3. He ran way up on the back of Ulmer there. And we're on board with Paul and the aluminum Falcon. Approximately, it's showing 5 to go. Oh, there's Ulmer wide. That's going to be a slowdown penalty, I believe. And that's how you get rid of a slowdown right there. You don't come to a stop, you just bleed off a little bit of speed.
I don't know about you, Daniel, but my tires are gone.
I was just about to say the same thing.
Yeah, it's crazy. I can't get into any corners now.
And that's probably
I was wondering how I was keeping up with you.
that's exactly what Billy wants to hear.
Maybe all you guys should pit, stop, take some drinks, take a break, and then jump back in.
There's Paul trying to convince him.
Yeah, let your tires cool down.
I peed in my seat. Does that count?
Yeah, it's just that these tires need another heat cycle.
If you want another view of this race, after you're done watching here, search for John Ulmer on YouTube and you can find his broadcast from the driver's seat with his in-race commentary. Always a fun channel to watch. And Billy's caught right back up to Daniel here, ready for round 2. We've been focused here on the battle for P1 and in the P1s. GTE Leaf is still out to a comfortable lead, a minute and a half over Larry in P2, Chris is P3, Clint P4. There's a shot of Clint. Still haven't seen a, well, they haven't been together much this race. Still haven't seen a good shot of Larry and Clint's cars side by side. But I believe one of them is white and blue and the other, oh. Is that Ulmer? What happened there? Wow. That was a big shortcut. Oh. Well, Billy to P2, Daniel up front, and Ulmer back behind after completely missing the Dunlop chicane. Here comes John using all his boosts. He's going to go all the way back up to P1. Oh, no.
Shit, sorry, man.
Well, that's what John wants to see after he used up quite a bit, if not all of his boost, topping out at 227.6 miles an hour. I was saying, I haven't seen much of Larry's car, but I believe one is white and blue and the other is white and red, so this would be Clint white and blue. I think Larry is white and red.
Yeah, I don't know how you could do a full fuel double stint on the set of tires in this car. I mean, granted the track is 112 degrees, but still.
Yeah, like John said, a little bit warmer today, or last night in this race. It was partly cloudy, 78, and the track temp was 112. It certainly could have been a lot hotter. That's not the hottest temps we've seen, but warmer than what we've had recently. There goes Billy Smith around the outside of Daniel. Now he's got to try to chase Ulmer back down. He's still trying to make those fresh tires work. And if Ulmer keeps missing the chicanes like he is, Billy just needs at least half a clean lap to just pull ahead of these guys. There's your GTE leader. Oh, here's Larry, okay. Yeah, so Larry's white and red, and Clint was the white and blue. Watch out, Leaf, you got a hungry pack of P1s coming up behind you here. He'll just run his line, stay on line there, don't make any sudden movements, and those guys will just zip on by.
That was cool.
So that is Clint in front of them. You know, Larry, if you're watching, I think the only change I'd make to that paint scheme is I'd make Clint's mirrors blue as well. And I think that'd be easier to tell you two apart. Let's see, I believe, are we going to get the white flag this time? Be 1 to go. Ulmer in first, Billy Smith second. Daniel Johnson's fallen back a ways, almost 5 seconds behind. Through the Ford chicanes, and this should be the white flag right here. Billy goes around John. Yeah, make those mirrors blue to match the tail of the car. And then these head-on shots, it's easier to tell the difference without having to try to peek to see what color the rear is. Billy's been faster through the first 2 sectors and pulling away from John. I think with those fresh tires, I think this is what Billy needed. He finally needed just a break from all the back and forth action to get out in front, and then he can use his boost to defend on John. I'd be lying if I said I didn't do that this race once or twice. Easy to do.
My spotter just told me I'm going to need a pit for new tires shortly. Does that mean I'm close to blowing them out?
It means they're on sale.
That's cool. Since 2011, I don't think I've ever heard the spotter say you got to pit for tires.
I think Greg's car's still damaged. He's well off pace there. Well, I was wondering if we're going to get a shot of Billy and John finishing here. But it looks like Billy's, I don't want to say comfortable, but he's over a second lead. And that was your finish. Billy took the win, John second. Here comes Daniel to the line. That'll be P3. And here's your GTE leader, Leif Peterson. That was an intense final 10-15 minutes there for the LMP1 battle. Leaf to the line. Congrats on the win there. Clint to P4. Be Paul coming behind him for P4 in the LMP1 class. And this one's Larry. A quiet race from Larry. Big lockup on the right front there. Quiet race from Larry as he finishes P2, or will. Still got a little ways to go to get to the line. So next week there will be the GT3 cars at VIR. And this series will return in 2 weeks to Road America. Purposely made the schedule for these cars on mostly long tracks, just to give the chance for the GTE field to get spread out a little bit before the LMP1s catch them. Next season we'll probably have a bigger mix of intermediate tracks. Got to play games with Larry with flashing my lights at him. Larry will get P2 in the GTE class, and I take P5 in LMP1s. And here comes Chris. Congrats on the podium, Chris.
Congrats, Billy. Congrats, Lee.
Thank you, Alan. Thanks for getting me in here. Appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Is that Ulmer in second?
I believe it is.
I can't.